Oh, you really sat and listened to the whole thing.
That should be the intro. Just sample that part. Here we are, look at us, right where we belong.
I had it recording, so I don't know if it actually picked up.
Probably not. It's mad far. Cause I am right where I belong. You never seen the Muppets Take Manhattan?
Yo, it's been a while since I've seen Muppet movies.
I'm not gonna hold you. It's been dead ass a while.
Like, I gotta get
Yeah, you was shitting on Americans being uncultured and stupid and shit, but it seems like you just need to go reassemble yourself.
Bro, wait, hold up.
Bro. Man them.
Yo, man them don't need to educate self.
Calm, bro. Calm.
Man them do.
Man them don't need to educate himself. You feel me, bro? Man them big man up top with the education things.
I'm Haitian.
There's plenty of Haitian bruv them.
Nah, yeah, I know.
The man them.
Well, I'm not even Haitian.
Bruv.
I don't even know how to speak. You know
How can I be homophobic? My bitch is gay. Run around with the stick trying to see a man topless. Even the stick is gay.
Ooh.
Boom.
I forgot what Shorty said. She said, flow so sick like
brothers,
AIDS.
I tell him I love him, but I don't swing that way.
Ooh.
The man them celebrate Eid. The trap still running on Christmas Day.
Is this?
That's a real song.
I know that.
Nah,
Who
yeah,
you
word.
quoting? Who you quoting? Because I need to listen to
That's
this.
a fact.
You
I
never
want to
heard
hear
it?
that shit. Nah, play it.
I'm about to play it.
I probably
Central
did
C.
This is audio only.
So Georgia cut. I'm trying to indulge in that. And the grace sweat pin to the vulture. No, my boy's going off. It's mad funny, but it's
They
hard.
be saying some shit like
It's
you know
funny,
what I
but
mean?
it's hard. Like, I can't hate on
They
it.
be preaching.
Nah, they do. That's
Look.
what it sound like. That be sound like they be preaching and shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. Boom.
I'm trying to indulge in that. In my great tracks, we see the bulge in that. See the motion clap when you're throwing it back. These females planning on doing me wrong, so I'm grabbing a dome at the Trojan pack. Post the location after we gone, can't slip and let them know where we at. I don't know about you, but I value my life. Cause imagine I die, and I hate me. Yeah, my son was going off.
He was.
Who is that?
Central C. I bump his music regularly. I was late to this song. It became a meme before I could listen to it. So that shit.
How could I be homophobic? My bitch is gay.
Nah, he about to do it. He got it. I got you. It's coming up right here.
What you got, bottle of water?
The trap's still running on Christmas Day. That shit is that's the
a jug over there. You're gonna have to rent water for it. I ran out of plastic cups. Shouts out to the plastic cup gang. Wait, you wanna see it? Oh shit, did we run out of water? Go in my room and see.
How can I be homophobic? My bitch is
My man's is gay.
Yeah, you're sick. You're sick.
Bro, you what? You don't have gay mans?
Hugging my brothers and tell them I love them, but I don't swing that way. The man them celebrate Eid. The trap's still running on Christmas Day.
Bring it out here. Bring it out here.
Tell Doja cut. I'm trying to indulge in that, and I grace such Putin to the world in that.
She don't like black men, Central C.
She's not. He's white, light skinned.
What?
He might be black,
What?
but he's light skinned.
He white skin.
He's super light skinned. He
He
lighter than
Klay
me.
Thompson color.
Yeah.
What is that nigga? What is Klay Thompson?
Klay Thompson black.
Yeah, right.
Y'all can drink out one of these?
Klay Thompson black. Don't ever question it. That is a black man. When you see Klay, you see a black man, okay? Remember that. Klay Thompson, nigga.
Nigga. He said never, never, never.
Oh my God! I ain't gonna lie. I want to punch that nigga the Aki way. I don't know what it is about people who just that are just too charismatic. That shit pisses me off.
Then you
a hater.
Yeah, fuck it. Whatever.
Troy Maxon ass
All
nigga.
right, you know what? I can't.
Bro, every time you try to fight that persona, I'ma just go back to all the examples in life that I can point out.
I can't wait.
The result
You know what? You know what you're doing? You're Googling me right now.
No,
That's what
I'm
you're
not.
doing. And you're finding whatever. You're finding what?
I'm not Googling nobody.
No, you're Googling me right now. You're finding whatever narrative you want.
No, I'm
to,
not
to,
find-
you
I'm not
finding
finding
whatever answers
narrative.
you want to fit.
I'm not. You just giving me the answers.
Other
'Cause
people-
you
no,
just be
other
saying,
people-
that's what I be saying. You just be saying
So you saying Troy Maxon was just saying shit?
Yes.
You know what? I'm tired of you. So what you
If
just be
read-
saying?
Bro, we not gonna have this discussion again. Read the book, watch the
Bro,
movie.
I'm not
or
asking
see
about
the
that.
play.
I'm talking about what you be saying. So when you say shit,
A lot of the time I think about it, especially now. Yes. Not even just on the pod.
so you
Before I say
genuinely think
anything.
I don't think about what I said?
I just don't think you think long enough or hard enough.
You think so?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes. I think you say the first
Shit,
thing
I
that
don't
pops.
think about shit
I
I
think that
be
you say the
saying,
first
nigga.
thing that pops into your head.
You think so?
And I think that your subconscious does not do that very well. So formulating the thing for you to say in that innate moment, I don't think that your subconscious keeps up with the moment as fast as you would like to.
You think I'm not doing any of this on purpose? You think none of this is planned?
No, I think that sometimes it is. I think that sometimes it isn't.
Boom.
But that doesn't negate the fact that you just be saying shit. So whether you
I
plan,
do. I listen.
whether
I will
you
admit I
plan
do
and
be
just
saying
be
shit,
saying
but
shit.
I want you to understand that
But what-
I'm planning on just saying shit.
But that's what I'm saying.
literally.
Even if you plan
if you
on just-
take it seriously, it's
But
up to
even
you.
if you planning on just saying shit, somebody somewhere, maybe not me again. I know you. I'm sitting here. I see you often enough. You know what I'm saying? Also, why I can make the comparison to Troy Maxon so freely because I know you.
and you know Troy.
No, but I know the depiction of Troy because I've watched the movie a bunch of times. I've read the book.
Boom.
Excuse me, more than once, and I've seen the
Did
play.
you watch Fences?
Hell yeah.
You remember Fences pretty well.
Hell no. It was a good ass movie though. I tell you that.
You remember the movie?
Nah. I just remember the experience of me watching it like that one time. Or I think I watched it a couple of times. But like I don't really remember it.
Fences
It
is like
wasn't my type of movie to remember.
it's like one of those. So I made the conjuncture of like it's black literature and history in a sense, and like while we may not like to acknowledge the darker parts of things in any situation, because even today we don't like to look at the bad side of anything we got going on. We try to look at all the positives, but you're oversaturated with trauma, in my opinion. Like you can pick up your phone right now and just go on the internet and find at least 3 different tragedies and 3 different types of tragedy at that: a shooting, car accident, and a suicide. Snap of your finger, you find that information. Before, you weren't oversaturated with that information. When something happened, it took time to circulate. The time it took to circulate, it then made things less important. Rather than me reporting on everything, I need to report on the big ones. And that's like going back to like the discussion we've had before. It's like not everybody's story matters. And this is why I say it that way. Not to say that everyone doesn't have a story that someone else may like to hear. That's a may, that's an if. It's a possibility. It's not a fact. The fact, you know what I mean? Aside from however we feel, is that not everyone's shit matters. Because even in something like your day-to-day interactions, you just remember the things that are most important to you day to day.
Facts.
Like the big things, because that's important. That's the story. that part of the story matters to you. At a certain point, when you start to scale up beyond like, okay, this guy, what I see in this area, we're talking about a state, a country, or then some. How do you like weigh the importance of those stories? And like, while I think the scale might need to be like assessed or fixed to like what's important as to what's not, because everybody's gonna have a different opinion on that, but I think that the vast majority of people can agree like the bigger stories last for the most part. Like, we don't talk about the other 10 billionaires that exist in America. Talk about Elon, Bezos,
Kanye,
Jay-Z. We don't even really talk about Jay-Z.
Yeah, that's a fact. He's kind of dying down.
You know what I'm saying? And like, essentially, we don't talk about Kanye being a billionaire. We just talk about Kanye.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about Elon. We talk about Bezos. Talk about Gates and Jobs when they were alive and running and kicking. I think Gates is still alive, if I'm not
That nigga's still
mistaken.
alive.
Gates is still alive, but he's just no longer at the front of his company
That's a fact.
anymore.
And that other nigga too, fucking the Zuckerberg.
The Zuck.
We talk about Zuckerberg, and we talk about whatchamacallit, and we talk about Mark Cuban.
Right.
We talk about Mark Cuban because he's in sports. Talk about Zuckerberg because of social media. Talk about Elon because of social media at the end of the day.
All these niggas.
We
really
talk about Bezos only because of Amazon. And everybody fucking uses it.
all these niggas.
And we
know
talk
each
about
other,
Kanye
bro.
because of controversy.
My nigga Michael Rubin,
That nigga really a billionaire.
Free Meek.
Like,
Nah,
we
yeah,
don't
that shit's
talk
crazy.
about the other billionaires. We talk about the popularized ones because at the end of the day, as much as we can love to hate them or hate to love them, whatever the case may be, their stories matter more than the next shitter because of how successful they are. So even if it's just their story, because everyone's different, they got a bunch of lucky breaks, they had to do something, they could have got seed money to start, their dad could have helped them, mom, uncle, whatever. Like, however they did it, the process and the story of them getting there in the long run will matter way more than someone who started a taco stand or a bait and tackle store or even like a small construction company. Because you're successful in your area, and while your story does matter, yes, like you have importance and value to someone and to yourself and the greater like mechanism of the world. Like, if we got to keep a story to put down through history,
I get what you're saying. Like, if we had to summarize,
like if we had to
and we picking the best of the best,
picking the best of the
Joe's
best,
Auto Mechanic Shop is definitely
they
not.
not keeping up with Amazon.
Yeah.
So whoever made Amazon is going to be the person whose story matters. Jeff Bezos.
That's a fact.
I get what you're saying.
So it's not to say that people aren't important. It's just like not every story really matters because like at a certain point you got to put a value on everything.
Yeah.
Like that's what humans intrinsically do. That's what we're like geared to do. We put a value on everything. Like even back in the days when you going out to kill an elk and skin it, you put a value on the elk over the mountain lion because it was bigger. It had more. It did more. The hide could be used for more. You got the bones from whatever that could be used for other tools and shit like that. So like you put a value on everything. Because if you killed the elk and came back to the village and tried to sell the horn for a bunch of beads and berries, you're getting way more beads and berries than someone who just killed the mountain lion because he can only sell the meat and the
Like
and then the
teeth or
fur
some shit.
and the teeth and shit, where you got the horns and all this extra shit. So just that, more value. You're gonna
More
get
shit
more
you
for
can
your
do with
family,
that,
even
too.
though it's not a monetary value. Like humans are intrinsically, I think all animals essentially assess value. Like a lion doesn't just go out and hunt. Like they pick. They assess their risk ratio, their success odds, all of that.
Yeah, I think
And
that's
then that's just like an animal instinct
an
to
instinctual
put a
thing.
value on both your life.
Yeah, because I was about to say, you have to know your value.
And then what you're risking when you're going to get whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're, like, intrinsically there's a value placed on everything just without it even being monetary. So because of that, we get into that weird space where it's like, well, this is important and this is cool and I really like this. But, like, this is way more popular and it's pretty much the same thing. And it works just as well. Or it's just bigger. It's a more functioning mechanism. Whatever the case may be. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we got Google and Bing. Nobody fucking used Bing.
Yeah. That's
That's a fact.
And Bing's whole thing was like, oh, we're more accurate than Google. I will still go to Google.
Yeah.
Apple is partnered with Google, which means the more popular phone. Like, bro, Apple phones are literally only popular because they look the same.
You think that?
Yes. 100%. 1,000,000%. Like, the only reason we own iPhones is because my iPhone is the same as your iPhone.
Yeah, so we're on the same level, same tier.
It makes you feel
a
better
part
of something.
Yeah.
Every human wants to be a part of the bigger assimilative force. We are herd animals. It's just what we are.
Yeah, because I see what you're saying. Because it's like, it's weird. Because there's people who have Apple products and stuff like that, and then there's people who consider themselves Apple people. Like they're Apple. I'm an Apple guy. They say shit like that,
Like
and they don't even own outside of products. They don't own any. They're not employed by Apple. They're not sponsored.
I got an iPhone. I got a watch. I got iPad. I got a MacBook. My entire family has this. I got an iHome. I got the Apple TV. I got it all. Like anything Apple does, I'm there. Apple guys.
Yeah, and you're allowed to feel that way. But deep down, we once again, I get what you're saying. Like, there's the comparison. It's like
you feel comfortable with Apple because the guy next to you feels comfortable with Apple.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I feel
it's
like
it's that assimilation that you're speaking
and now
of.
because
it's like, yo, you walk in the room and it's like, oh, yo, like everything from like the same looking phone to same features at like a certain level, and then like as long as you're up to the newest level, you have that. Oh, yo, I'm up to par. You know what I mean? And then not even just that, you have the blue check, like the blue bubble and all that with the
just little things like. So like the weird.
I won't text you if your shit come up green.
Green, exactly. So like exactly something simple as that.
Word.
iMessage has created. It's just like what we had with BlackBerry Messenger back in the day too. Yeah. iMessage has created such a thing where you can almost eliminate an entire group of people from conversation just because they don't have an iPhone and their text messages come up differently. So if you're not on Wi-Fi or your service is bad, you're not going to get their message, but you'll get the iMessage.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Well, because it's just, we want you to use ours. You feel comfortable with Apple because we feel comfortable.
No, I was wondering if somebody calling me or just texting me or whatever. You can't even tell. You can't even tell. You already know I'm on it. Yeah, I'm waiting. It's coming in. Don't worry. It's ordered.
Phones every week, bro.
It's ordered. It's coming in.
Bro, get a case.
You know what it was? That I had a case, but I got a little cocky because that phone lasted me the longest out of any other fucking iPhone I ever had.
Fuck?
And I had the case on and everything, so I decided to take it off and swag
When you say
it
case
out.
and everything, do you mean like
bro,
the
it was
screen
cased
protector?
up. When I first got that shit,
No.
cased up.
No, it's not about the case. You see this little bullet wound right here?
Yes.
Did you have a screen protector on
like
there?
fully protected when I first got that shit.
So why did you take the screen
Because the shit got fucked up.
Yo,
because the protector got fucked up.
So re-protect it.
Nah, I was good. Like, it was like I had that shit for like 2 years, and I was like, I'm Gucci. Like, I'm really, you know what I mean? And then, boom, that shit happened.
Yeah, you're hilarious.
So the next one, I'm gonna do what you telling me. I'm gonna just keep, replacing the screen.
That's what we all do. Everyone that has new iPhone, like that, yo, you still got the old iPhone. It's because they keep the same case. They don't take their case off unless it's like you get an ear infection or you get pimples in your ear or something. That's nasty. Like, you gotta clean this shit every now and then. But
Word.
you wanna leave that shit on basically, and always keep a fresh glass, or at least a glass that is has majority of the screen undamaged.
iPhones are designed to break at the end of the day,
so they can
because
get
they
more
want
money.
you to get a new one or have to replace your device.
That's a fact.
They also know that you're gonna do that because the same thing we're talking about in the sense of like status. If you walk into a room and you feel uncomfortable and someone pulls out the same exact iPhone as you, you don't even realize it, but subconsciously you're like, oh, that dude's not that much better than me.
Right.
Yeah. Can I ask you something? Do you ever see yourselves like, I think we all play into this like status thing, but like, do you ever see yourself like going outside and like kind of like not partaking in like quote unquote like so yesterday, the reason why I bring this up is because like yesterday I was walking around and I was basically dressed like a homeless nigga. Mm-hmm. Like I just had these like beat up shorts and like this literal oversized shirt with like holes and like bleach stains on it, and it was like bright orange and like it just looked crazy. And then like I don't have a brand new haircut, you know what I'm saying? But
a little
like
scruffy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, a little scruffy or whatever. Back. But like I be forgetting that like that's not presentable. So like I was walking in places and people were thinking I was poor. So it was just like I went to like this like restaurant, completely forgetting I'm dressed like an idiot. And then like they're just like the look that she was giving me when she was like taking my order down is just like she's like you're getting this?
You're not gonna run out on the shit, nothing, right?
Yeah, like and then when I paid for it, everyone was just like, they were super nice because it was just like, hey, I'll just keep it, you know what I mean, keep the change, whatever. And then it's just like they were like, yo, I'm leaving because I was like, I went in or whatever, and I'm leaving, and I think by the time they like figured out like, oh, he just tipped us, he's like, this guy's not like a crazy guy. Yeah. They were like, wait, hold up, before you leave, like, yo, we got some new thing that we want to try. Like, I know you want to refill on your lemonade because that's what I went in there for. Yeah. And they were like, can we do like a strawberry lemonade thing? We haven't really tried it yet. And I was just like, fuck it, all right, word. Let it do it, whatever. Shit was fire. I was like, yo, appreciate it. And then after that, like, but I did feel like a point in like a shift. Mm-hmm. In like, I don't want to say service necessarily, because she wasn't trying to be rude. Yeah. But like I felt a shift in energy when it was just like, oh, this guy's not a crazy person. Just like, I'm walking in here, eyes bloodshot, right? Because I've been walking around high everywhere I go.
When I was in Babylon, like over there, I definitely like felt that way, like. Because I'm usually, you know what I mean? I'm just doing my DoorDash shit or whatever. You know, I'm just in the crib. I get pinged for something. I'm like, all right, I'm just throw my Crocs on, you know, and you know I'm in some beat up pink Crocs at the time. You know my shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't really give a fuck, but it was like when I was there, I started being more aware to that shit, because they would dead ass treat you different. Like,
like people
look at you different. Yeah, like what? Like
that
I'm about to rob your purse or some shit just to eat McDonald's. Like, nah, nigga, like I'm just cozy, like
I forget. I rolled out of bed.
Word, like that's what it was. Like
you definitely
felt that.
Yeah, you felt that. You ever feel that, or like, not even just about feeling that. Do you ever like purposely partake in that?
Nah, I never much, because you know that's how I regularly dress anyways. I just ain't never feel away till I was out in Babylon. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I usually go out.
So I asked you because you're very well kept.
Well, that's just because of me. Like, that's a personal thing. Like, so I feel like the easiest way to explain it is everyone has their like view on what society is and what their place in it should be and how much of it they need to partake in. So what a lot of people in our community frown upon is being well educated, being well spoken, being well kept. Because they're like,
my fault. I can't help but every time I just be like looking at you when we talking, I be wanting to have a serious conversation with you, and 90% of the time it always comes out it's just me just being stupid. And you just being like, once we get to the 10, it's always gold, but it just be like, I be feeling it in your spirit, like, yo, bro, I know he's about to say some dumb shit.
I didn't even feel that way, but alright. So like a lot of people in our community, and I say well kept in a sense of, in our community, it's more essential to be flashy than it is to be well kept.
Definitely.
Like, you will more likely see someone with busted Gucci stuff on talking about, oh, it's Gucci,
Yeah.
than you are to see someone with well kept slacks that they might have got from like Zara
Yeah.
and a new
Or some,
pair of, and
or
a
some
new pair
clean
of
clothes
shoes.
from Marshalls.
Even bro, it don't matter where you get it from.
Yeah.
You could buy Hollister tees. You could buy $10 t-shirts for all I care. You can wear nothing but white and black t-shirts, but you can then buy like a pair of slacks that look nice and don't wear them all the time. Don't buy $5,000 slacks that you can't afford to buy another pair of. Buy $100 slacks that you can go buy 5,000 pairs of if you have the $5,000. So that way, every time one gets dingy or
50.
dirty,
You
know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know
Nah, I
what I'm
feel you
saying?
because
You know-
5,000.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I did the bad math.
I ain't gonna lie.
I
That's
said
a lot
yeah
of
right
pants.
after that. I questioned
That's
myself
a
like,
lot
yo,
of
you
legs,
dumb
my
shit,
nigga. You put them out.
Even still, like, the point being, it's like
5,000
you can
pants.
grab, if you spent the money that you know you could afford, when your clothes get dingy or out of the necessary value or particular fabric is worn, whatever, you buy a new one. You can replace it. Now, is there definitely like a waste in the human community with too much clothing and stuff like that, with people over shopping? Sure. And I don't think that that's like the answer, but at the end of the day, like, you don't need 75 t-shirts.
Don't.
You need a couple. You need at max. You need like a 2 to 3 week rotation of
yeah.
t-shirts.
Word.
You need a 2 to 3 week rotation of long sleeve shirts. Same thing with dress shirts. Maybe not 2 to 3 weeks. You're not, unless that's what you're doing in your job. You don't need it every day.
That's a fact.
So you're really just putting that on to do whatever task you
Especially
need.
if you're working, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got something going on.
So like you need a rotation of like maybe 10 of each item, 10 to 15 of each item. So that way throughout the week you can vary how you put together each item.
Word.
This way, yes, you might wear the same things a lot, but you're not wearing them all the time. You don't let them get busted because you don't buy shit you can't afford and you can
Exactly.
replace it.
Exactly.
Like, it's cool to be flashy, but I think that like in our community, it's like frowned upon to just be well kept.
Yeah.
People would rather be flashy and like be looked at than just to be well kept and blend in.
I definitely feel that.
So I think that that's so like.
But when you're not, but if you wearing that shit, you know what I'm saying, and you're not well kept, you can also tell too. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause people that actually wear that, you know, the Gucci's and all that, this and that, da da
And that's
da.
what
Like,
I'm saying. People are
I feel
more
like-
concerned.
if you put that on, niggas gonna frown upon you still, cause you know.
So like the thing
Not
is, so
well
like
kept.
for me, I don't like there's days I literally come out the crib and like my sweatpants and
Yeah,
like,
but even
busted
but your
t-shirt and, like,
sweatpants don't be
no, like,
sweatpants.
Like I come out the crib and like busted stuff from time to time. Like don't get it wrong. Like there's days when I come out and I literally have on pajamas. There might be like a little hole down at the bottom, but it's not like a giant hole that
Nah, yeah.
everybody when I can see. It's like a little hole that's like on the seam that only I can see. I
Yeah.
keep those because I really like those pajamas. They're not really messed up.
Cozy.
They're just literally like the seam is starting to split
Split, yeah.
because they're old. It happens. Do I need new ones? No, not really. Do I want new ones? No, not really.
Can
So
you get a pair if
I'm
you
gonna
want
just
some?
keep
Yeah.
the ones that I have. But if I walk outside in them, I'm not like feeling like eyes are away because at the end of the day, I know how I carry myself.
or
Like,
and you
That's a
also don't
fact.
feel the opposite, like eyes are
on you. Like,
That's what it
that's the
is
thing.
more,
Like
eyes
That's my
on
thing.
you.
It's weird.
no,
I
like
don't-
I feel the eyes on me, but I also feel like they're passing.
All right, yeah, I understand.
So because of like again like to I guess like really answer the question, like I don't feel that because like you said, I'm always kind of well kept. Like even today, I'm not really wearing nothing. Like these are like old sweats I used to coach in and shit like that. So like these is busted. At the end of the day, they don't look busted, but they're busted.
Yeah.
Like my Nike sign is fading. It's not on there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
My zippers work, but one of them don't have the zipper. The pocket don't close properly. There's like the little beady shits on it, so they're not the nicest sweats. No. Do I look like I'm homeless? Absolutely not.
See, I think that's my problem sometimes. I be so unconnected that like or disconnected that I be walking. I'm like, oh, I forgot to dress like a regular person.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I feel like when I go outside and I have on like bum-ish clothing or like not the best kept clothing, I feel like people look at me and have a perception of what I might be. And because of the way society is shaped, personally, I never even want to give you an opportunity to think anything other than what I want you to.
Yeah. See, I have a weird. It's weird for me. Like, I don't know, man. I don't be. You ever think like really ask yourself like how do I really like feel like how much does it matter to me how people feel about me, and then how much of that like how much of an importance do I put on them feeling
So
the way I want them to feel?
You want like the sociopathic answer, or you want like
we just pot and pimp.
So personally speaking, I don't care what people think about me.
Facts.
I used to a lot, way too much, and at a certain point, I realized that all the people that I want to like me or think about me in some way, that I possess skills they don't and wish they had. So, like, any people that dislike me, for some reason I seem to always end up with someone or somewhere people saying how great I am. So it's either clearly you don't like me for your own personal reasons or whatever else. Like, I don't need you to like me. So I don't really care about that. And then, like, placing the importance on, like, how I want people to feel about me, realistically, think every single person on the planet is a little bit manipulative. There's many different forms of manipulation.
Yeah.
So with that in hand, I think there's a game almost to be played between every person and another person with the balancing of each other's emotions, because the more familiar you become with the person, the more easily it is for you to influence something that they have going on. Like, a perfect example, as you get older and you ask like your parents to do things, you start to learn when and where and who and why to ask what to. Like, you don't just go, you're like, oh, let me clean my room, let me get up real quick, do these little things. And now I ask my mom, she'll give it to me. Or like, if I get up and I go downstairs and I help my dad do something specifically, he gonna give it to me. So you start to learn just in that your own little way of manipulating a situation, like how to play on their emotions. So I think when you get like good at it, you realize that yes, you're playing on people's emotions, but you need to do it in the most open way possible.
I get what you kind of mean.
So like,
I think I get what you're saying.
So like, I find it very hard to badmouth people, even when they've done something to me. I find it extremely hard nowadays to like say something negative about a person, because I don't like putting that energy out into the world. So it's easier for me to manipulate the situations I'm in, taking a positive approach. So I don't say the negatives. So like, if you have a problem and something's going on, I'm less likely to attack the person you're attacking and like strengthening the negatives to let you dig in. And I'm more likely to manipulate the situation super openly. Like, yo, I find it hard to speak negative about this person, especially because they're not here talking with us. But what I can say about what you're doing and what I've seen and what's going on right now, X, Y, and Z. So it's still a manipulation of the situation, in my opinion, because I'm trying to take the person from X point to Z point and change what they're feeling, thinking, or at least how they're initially processing
So
things.
in your mind, you don't really you're not worried necessarily how people feel about you. You more so are just worried about how people feel about the situations that you're dealing with. Yeah.
Because like everyone's gonna like emotions are fleeting. So like you can like me today, and then something happened and you hate me tomorrow, and then you love me again 2 hours after it.
Yeah, I have an emotional
So like
spectrum like
but
that.
like emotions are just fleeting in general. Like everyone's
Yeah.
different in that regard.
Because it's just a chemical response.
Exactly. So like some people's chemical response is gonna be more heavily induced by one thing than someone else's is.
Very true.
And that's based on your personality and your disposition to certain things.
Yeah, lifestyle choices, diet, yada 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 yada.
So like
trauma,
for me,
blah,
it's
blah,
like
blah.
I don't care if you like me right now. I don't care if you like me tomorrow. I don't care if you like me at all. But if we're gonna have a conversation and we're gonna talk about something
or have to work,
or whatever,
if we have to deal with each
something,
other,
if there's something that we have to deal with, I'm gonna openly let you know. I'm trying to manipulate your way of thinking because I want you to look at my perspective. Because don't think that I'm not taking yours in. But I'm a human, you're a human, and our neural pathways are wired in such a way where it's going to take a real long time for me to start thinking something in a different way. But I need to be open to considering it. Like people think, especially like when I talk to them, that I don't hear what they're saying or think about what they're saying. It's like, no, we're having a debate. I'm not just going to give you what you want to hear just so you can feel good. Like, no, I'm going to go home. I'm going to sit about it. I'm going to think. Like, I'm going to be alone with my thoughts at some point where you're not here. And if I was actually listening, the things you said are going to be on my mind, and my mind will start to stew over them. Over the course of time, I may be able to admit you were right in that moment. It's not going to happen today. But that's what everybody expects when you have an argument or any type of debate or confrontation. They expect that if they yell or dig in hard enough, that the other person is going to take a step back on their heels. And that's called the blowback effect, where and essentially when you yell and you trying to use the negatives and push a situation, people just dig in more into the way they're feeling. And so like when it comes to like the situations and managing like how people feel, I don't really care how they feel about me.
Yeah.
Because if you're someone that I deem important, at some point we will speak. At some point we'll come together again. But right now we have this situation to deal with. If you're on the negatives and you're harping this, it's my job to manipulate the situation in a positive way and try to find a way in which we can at least speak more clearly.
You know what's weird with me? I've been, like, I don't want to just be like piggyback, like yeah, or whatever it is you want to call it, but like I feel the same way. But I would have to do more thinking on that, like on what you brought up. But you did answer what I asked you. But like for me, I think like I put more importance on like, I guess like not how people feel about me, but how people feel when they're around me. If you can understand what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't necessarily have to feel like you know what I mean? Like you necessarily don't have to like me, but I do want you to know that when you're around me, like you're good, like you're safe. Like you might not have to, as long as you're not causing any like necessary, like I guess harm to me or like my people. Like I don't have a problem with you having like you could even have like a visceral hate, like this nigga pissed me off. You get what I'm saying? Like yeah. For me, like it's weird. You get what I'm saying? I don't take too much like I don't really like deep down like I don't focus in on how people feel about me like when I'm not around. You get what I'm saying? Because I can't control that.
But you can't control how they feel when you are around either. True.
But what I can control is like how you feel like when you're near me. Like
no.
Like like if you feel like, bro, my actions will cause you to feel a certain way.
Not necessarily. All right. So I'm gonna let you finish, but I just want to pose you
Like,
this very quick situation. So for example, there are people.
You're allowed to prejudge. I can't speak on a prejudging.
No, not
like,
even a prejudgment.
I can't speak on a prejudice.
There's people that will come around, right, and you'll be your completely authentic self, and then they would just not enjoy being around you. It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
it has
but I don't
everything to do with the
let me
person.
finish though, because I don't personalize it, like, because it's not like a task for me. Like, it's more like a comfortability thing. Like, more so as long as you know you safe. Like, I don't necessarily need you to like me physically or anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but people, that's what I mean. Like, you can't make a person feel safe. Like, all right, you say that I'm good at getting people to answer questions when we do like our interviews on the pod.
Yeah, but I think it's a dynamic that me and you both have, because people be scared to talk to you, my nigga.
Yeah,
and I think I make people safe. Like, I think I make people feel safe.
At the same time, people be scared to talk to me because I don't give off a friendly energy. Like, my demeanor when I'm talking and really trying to like get to the basis of something
it's not even like a bad. It's not a bad. It's just like I force you
to talk about business.
I force you to think. Type shit.
And most people aren't being forced in situations to have to answer the questions that I'm asking. Like, you might think about them from time to time, but like, I want you to put an answer on wax. I want you to state this. I want you to stand on it. I don't want you to just, like, you know, feel that way, because I think that that's a problem. Like, everyone has feelings. Are you willing to stand on them? How much do you feel for those things? Because if your feelings gonna crumble the moment someone yell at you, then maybe that's not the stance you should be taking.
Yeah.
So when I ask the questions, I'm always trying to ask people the questions that maybe they've thought about, but they haven't really put the statement out. Like, even when we did our last episode, person we had on, so that we not, because this is probably gonna come out first, if anything.
Probably.
So
who knows?
I don't want to like drop any hints or anything about that. But even he said it, he was like, "Yeah, bro, you got me to a point where I was really about to just start saying stuff." And it's like, because yes, I'm not. When you first start talking to me, you might have a guard up, because that's your prejudgment. But that's why I say words have meaning, and it's important. And you know, when you say things,
you know what's
I'm
crazy?
not attacking you when I ask the questions.
You're
I just
right.
really want to know how you feel. So
depending on which side of the depending on which side of the mirror you're looking at, like, I could be the one drawing these questions out. You know what I mean? And you could be the one being, you know what I mean? Like, being like making them feel comfortable or making them feel safe. You know what I mean? Because it's like, at any moment in time, like, we all know my personality. I could just slip something in there that, like,
it's off cuff.
It's off cuff. It's
uncouth. Some might say.
You get what I'm saying? But, like, and that could backfire on someone just being so comfortable, quick to speak and agree with me or whatever it is. You get what I'm saying? Or just stand next to the statement. It's just even enough nowadays. Versus
some people they not comfortable enough to be real. You know what I mean? Or like, when they get to that point of conversation, they be like, "Oh, and then you just laugh, you joke around, they be like, "Woof."
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's also a different perspective on the situation. Because it's like, or not even the situation. It's a different perspective on another situation, which is like your perspective on whether it's like real or unreal to speak the way I do versus the way he does.
Facts.
And this is one thing me and him both have agreed on, like subconsciously agreed on. There's no right or wrong when we speak to each other. It's more so a clear, definitive answer. Like, if I'm bugging, I'm bugging. It doesn't mean that like I'm bugging because he said I'm bugging. No, it's, you could take him out of the situation and put anybody else there. I'm still bugging.
Yeah.
If he's bugging, it's not this. It's the same thing. It's not personal.
And that's why I say it's important to, like, again, every person in the world has their own form of manipulation, whether you play victim, whether you play bully, or something in between.
Right.
You have some way that you use to manipulate the people around you to get them to do something or some things
or give you
or whatever.
Yeah, right.
They doing something. Giving you is doing something.
You're right. You're right.
They are doing some task, providing some type of value to you through this form of manipulation.
Right.
The problem with people is that they're not honest about it.
Yeah.
Like, if you are honest about it, then your quote quote manipulation becomes your tendencies and your ways of communicating. And if you are honest about it, then the person that's communicating with you will be able to realize and pick up on those tendencies, and they might have some of their own.
Gotcha.
Like I know for a fact, if you argue with me, you're 100% gonna go home thinking that I'm an asshole and I didn't listen to you. And that's not the case. I'm not giving you the satisfaction of hearing me say you were right before I get a chance to fucking think about it. We're in the heat of debate. We're talking about things that we are passionate about, whichever way it goes. At some point, it is escalated, and now you think I'm an asshole because you don't like my opinion. Well, you don't have to like my opinion. Everybody got them. So you're not supposed to like my asshole anyway. So, that's the case. Let me go home and think about it. I get to pick and choose what I want to look at. I get to pick and choose what I want to ingest and take into my body. So if I'm already having a debate with you and I'm having a conversation, I think that goes to show, like, all right, I'm really willing to intake some of your opinions. That doesn't mean I'm going to immediately agree with them or accept them ever. It just means I need the time to process them. And people in debates and arguments are always looking for that sense of satisfaction of, like, oh, I was right. Oh, I was right. Like, bro, I can be wrong. It doesn't, like, I say it doesn't happen very often because I don't talk to many people who challenge me regularly, and that's a problem. Like, I need more of those people. I don't have them, not just for my own lack of, keeping them around at my younger age and not being able to accept that, but just because there are less of those people that exist today. It is harder to find people every day on a day-to-day basis that are going to challenge you in your way of thinking. And the only way you are ever going to get better or ever to succeed is if you are constantly being challenged. Humans are creatures of habit. It's called a habitat because you make yourself comfortable there. You do things regularly to make sure you can survive in that specific area. If that was the basis of human genome, we would have died off a long time ago. Things are bigger, stronger, and faster than us. There has to be something more, and that something more needs to be the way in which we think, the way in which we communicate, the way in which we are willing to assess damage, take criticism, and adjust. A lion that misses his kill don't go back to the herd of lions and have a bunch of lions passing him meat, making him feel better.
Nigga don't eat.
He don't eat. He gotta figure out how to get better, or he dies. Humans don't operate that way. That's part of the beauty in it, but it's also part of the crutch.
All right.
There's so many small social skills that people don't really have the need for anymore because it's so easy to assimilate yourself into a small niche community. You can go on Instagram, Discord, Facebook, Messenger,
what's funny,
anything, and find a community of people that like exactly what you do.
Like. You know what's funny though? That statement that you made about the lion thing, it's not necessarily true because lions don't necessarily do most of the hunting and the pride. A lot of times it's lionesses. They're the ones that are doing like a lot of like hardcore hunting, and whenever they hunt, they always bring it back to the pride. So it's a lot of like a good number of times.
They bring it back to the pride for the man in charge. If we're gonna really talk about the animal thing, the lion that is not the best does not eat. Like all the cubs eat until they're a certain point and can hunt on their own. All the fucking women eat because they go out and hunt. So they need to be taken care of. The males that are not strong enough and are deemed weaklings don't have women and don't have food. They are waiting until the big guy finishes eating and they take the scraps.
I mean, hey, someone's got it. Someone's got to do it.
So that being, again, my point being, like, the lions don't go out and hunt and then come back and pass it out to the weaklings. They come back and they give it, even if it's the lioness, whatever lion went out and hunts, they come back and they give it to the person in charge. They give it to the strongest. Because if they don't, that person's going to rip their face off and they won't ever be able to hunt again. Or if they are, they're going to be hunting with a deficiency.
This is a tough world.
Or have a scar across their eye, something.
Living
They gonna
is
be
wild.
reminded not to do that shit again unless they strong enough to beat him.
Right.
So, like, that's the thing I'm trying. Like, humans don't operate that way. That's great. That's part of what allows us to succeed. But there's many social skills now that we don't have and we aren't able to, use properly because of the fact that they're not necessary for you to survive on a day-to-day in your environment.
Like what?
Okay? For example, people don't know how to have a confrontation properly. Point blank, period. People get into confrontation and think that they have to yell their points all the time, blah, 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 blah. Guilty of it myself. I do it a lot less now because now when people get me mad, I don't feel the need to really scream. I just speak in a slightly sterner tone, and my delivery is always like this.
I blame myself a lot of times because it's like I don't even be wanting to be yelling. I'm just a loud person. So whenever someone says anything to me that sounds outlandish, I immediately scream what? I go, what?
Are you kidding me?
I immediately go there.
But even still, so like, and for me, I read a book. It's called "Why Are We Yelling" by Buster Benson. Really, really great book. He's a behavioral analysis expert, and he goes into the whole book is just based on the premise of why people argue and how we argue incorrectly.
Did you actually read the book?
Yeah, I read it and I have the audiobook.
Oh, what I was gonna ask you is, well, so what did he like sum it up as? Like,
It's not like a sum it up as it. There's 3 real main points to why people argue incorrectly. But the main one being, like Robert talked about, that blowback effect. That's something he mentions in the book specifically. And he uses that analogy of digging your heels in. But essentially, you don't really want to argue the way you are. Usually when things get heated, it's because something was said or something happened that is attacking something that you feel is a core value of yours, something that's close to your heart or your soul. And when someone attacks that, you immediately get, defensive, and you want to protect that thing. And to the notion of habits and having, things happen over and over
protecting
again.
your heart.
Having all those things happen over and over again, you get to a point where it's like, all right, well, I got to defend this because no one else is going to defend it. And if they don't feel this way, then I don't need to surround myself with that. And that's not always the case. You're arguing, usually in those moments, not even about the thing that's actually bothering you. Because you were so hurt by whatever they attacked that you don't even want to be that vulnerable and admit that, like, oh, you hurt my feelings.
Yeah, right.
You, especially with men, especially in the male community, like, men don't talk. Like, you hurt my feelings, dog. Whatever you just said hurt my feelings. But rather than say that, they come out and say something else to
I'm about to
hurt.
start jacking that. I'm about to just start. You hurt my feelings.
They rather than say that, they come out and say something in response to hurt the other person's feelings or to be disrespectful.
Cause you know what it is in the hood, you could really be like, nigga, that just hurt my feelings. Or some just like, even if you playing around and be like, nigga, fuck your feelings.
And then even that is gonna make you want to argue more. So now that small little debate,
You supposed to say, why fuck my feelings? Like,
you know what I mean? But no,
are you
bro,
feeling?
that's emotional intelligence, and that's something that, like, we'll get to that in a second. But like,
That's something that 5-year-olds have.
like, that's emotional intelligence, bro.
That's something
like,
you forget by the time you're 13.
everybody has that shit, bro. Like, as a kid, when you see another kid crying, bro, you're like, oh, what's wrong?
what's wrong? Facts.
You immediately want to know what's wrong because you don't understand why someone else isn't happy. You don't care what color they are. You don't care if they're a boy or a girl. You just want to have fun and them to be happy as a child.
Right.
And the world warps your mind into all these different things, and your experiences change you.
And then when
So,
you grow up, you get that ego
But
and all that shit.
when someone hurts your feelings, you immediately, in most cases, go to like jump in at some other thing or start talking about something else to try to hurt their feelings, or y'all just start yelling more instead of really sitting down and talking about like what the actual problem is. So he used an example where his wife was trying to get him to come home to do something with their son. And he didn't realize that she wasn't mad that he was going to work. She's upset that he made the commitment to do something with them and is now going to work
We were shouting about
otherwise.
fences earlier.
And now going to work otherwise. No, I'm talking about in the book, and Buster
Oh.
Benson's book. This is
Oh.
like a real life situation. Like he and his wife got into an argument about something involving their son. I think there was like a play date or a baseball game or something they were supposed to do together. It might have even been his birthday. But he had to end up going to work, or he was working on a project.
Yeah.
So he had made the commitment to them, but still was trying to go work on this project. And at the time, he didn't, like in their argument, he didn't even realize that, hey, she doesn't even really want to argue about the fact that I'm going to work. She doesn't care that I'm going to work. She knows I have to go to work. What's really bothering her is something else, in the fact that I'm neglecting something in my going to work, or I'm going back on a promise, whatever it is. That's the thing that bothers her. And then he talks about realizing that and then going to have the conversation again. Now that you have gotten to the core of the problem, you can have a real conversation. And that's why I talk about a positive manipulation. Because if you're open and honest when you're communicating with someone, and you're not just going to the visceral and hurtful remarks,
Just hit him with the why you hurt my feelings, dude.
it's like, yo, that really bothered me because I feel X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
right?
Really inspired me to just really just like
And then-
start cutting niggas' asses and just be like, whoa, why you hurt my feelings, dog?
Like, it sounds crazy, but think
Sounds
about
hilarious to me.
it. Sounds crazy because
Sounds
of,
hilarious to me.
because of what people are taught, but that's because people don't have emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Women are taught to tell their feelings all the time, share everything. It's not frowned upon. It's not stigmatized. Yeah, we might make fun of them. We joke and crack on them. But in their actual community of women, and then in society itself, they are not outcasted or put on blast to the level where it's like a defamation of who they are as a person for having struggles and talking about them. They're championed. In a lot of cases, not all, but in a lot of them. Like something as simple as, and this is a very like controversial topic, but I think it's pretty simple at a baseline. Rape is wrong. You should not be doing anything of the sort of taking someone's consent and right to their innocence away and their body. So, not forget all the like pregnancy things. Not even trying to touch on that.
I lost
Just-
all funny. Yeah, yep, you're right.
Just the rape is wrong.
Put him
That-
in jail. Cut the deed.
That being
dick
said,
off.
why is it that if a man is talking about him potentially being raped,
It's laughed at.
it's laughed at and it's frowned upon? And that's a simple situation to me. Like rape is wrong culturally, ethically, spiritually, everything.
every
It
way.
is wrong. So, how is it that for men it's not possible when it can clearly happen? And it has happened. And not just by being, and I'm not even just talking about molestation by like another man or something like that. There are women who have
yeah.
raped men.
Antoine Fisher. I ain't seen Antoine Fisher.
So it has happened. So, but it's frowned upon in our communities as a male. If you even go try to talk to your homies about it, they laugh at you. It takes a while for them to really, like, be like, oh, nah, this is bothering him. You're going to have to do something. You're going to have to act out one day. You're going to have a visceral argument with somebody if they keep clowning you because they're touching on something that's close to your heart, that's integral to your being. So it's like, why are you doing this? And then you start that argument. But because of the shame or the pain you feel with trying to protect that thing, you don't even argue about that thing. You argue about everything around the subject and anything that comes up in the argument that you can latch onto to hurt the other person or win said argument when there are no winners. And that's why when I argue with people, I'm just like, yo, listen, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to need to be mad. Respect that. That's how I am. I respect that you may want an apology. That's not happening.
Yeah.
Like, I respect that I might have hurt your feelings, but I can't wrap my head around that right this second. Because I have my own opinions, way of life, and beliefs.
I know what you mean. This is because me, like, a lot of times, like, I'll start it, like in certain points where it's like, all right, this conversation is going too far. I'll be like, yo, listen, I apologize for this. I apologize for this.
But you don't mean that.
Nah, because sometimes it just be like, yo.
Because you're saying it in the moment to dwindle a situation, but have you really thought about the opinions or the thing that is hurting that person? And that's what I'm talking about.
Well, I get what you. Yeah, in my mind, a lot of times I've taken into full consideration when I speak, you know, especially when I'm arguing with somebody.
But you're not.
Like, what you can call it? I'd be like, yo, listen, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings, but I'm not gonna take like what I said back because it's like, I know like. My response to you has like validity to me that like if you like you it was such a heated moment or whatever it is that like you would just be like, well, well, run it back, you said this, you just I was like, well, hold up, give me a second, because it's just like
we was arguing. I said something in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, and
that's why even like
so it's
now
like, before you start picking at what I said, start looking at what you said.
And then that's how the argument becomes this dance around an actual problem. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. So like even in that moment, you may take it back, you may apologize, but you saying, oh, I'm not going to take what I said back. They're going to be like, oh, but you said this, and this. And then you're going to be like, oh, you said this, and this.
No, even still, I'll be like, yeah. And I have to, I get what you're saying.
The dance of this round and round now, because even now, when y'all saying these things in this new argument, you know what I'm saying, after whatever small apology, whatever's happened in the situation, however it plays out, when y'all have the new argument, it's like
it's the same problem.
It's the same problem or a new problem that they've touched on by saying something else. So now they got two ways that they really hurt your feelings or did something that really, really bothered you. And because of the stigmas and your lack there of emotional intelligence and able to articulate how you feel properly, you don't talk about it. You latch on to bigger parts of the argument. Like, when I argue with people, they say I sound redundant. And yes, I do. Because I am not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm not going to tell you what I think of what you said right now. Because we're in whatever type of argument or debate. I'm going to tell you about what I'm seeing, about what I'm feeling, and about what I think. Because no matter how this conversation ends, there's no winner. We just had a miscommunication. There's now pain and an issue in our relationship, whether it be a friendship, a interpersonal relationship of any kind. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is. We now have a rift that needs to be repaired. If we didn't get to the core of the situation, then we standing at the wrong ends of the bridge. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to be able to fix it. But now if we leave the situation knowing there's no winner, I told you my piece, you told me your piece, and we say, okay, let's work on it. Let's see how it goes. If both people can make that commitment to the positive manipulation of the scenario, like, all right, they don't like when I do this, I don't like when they do this. In order to make them not do this more, I will not do this less. You get what I'm saying? You find your picking and your choosing to manage that person's emotions now. But now, because you're doing that, you may have the argument again, but now it's not the same. You can have still no winner, but you can have an ending.
You can have a argument again.
You can have an argument again. It's not the same argument again. You know what I mean? And it could be similar, it could be little things, because change isn't overnight. Things take time. But you are gonna come to a headway with all of these issues where it's like, hey, X, Y, and Z has happened. It makes me feel this way. The other person's gonna tell you their piece. And then you should take some time to process that. Because obviously both of you in that situation now have something to think about. Even if you're the only person that's hurt, the other person, if they truly care about you or value you or someone that should be in your life or around you to begin with, they should care. They're gonna care. And they're gonna think about how they hurt you when you explain it to them. And then you should be able to take what they're saying, like, I might not have understood, I didn't mean it that way, whatever the case may be, and try to understand their perspective. Everyone has this expectation of what everything is supposed to be because of movies, TV, stories, and other people's experiences.
Yeah.
And that's not how things are supposed to be. Things are not supposed to be any type of way, except for the fact that a space for open communication exists. Like, there's kids whose dad buy them everything, take them everywhere, want to be with them all the time, and that kid hates his dad. His dad's a piece of shit. He cheats on his mom. He talks like he spends all his time when he's not with his son, kissing his ass or going to baseball games or buying him shit, you know, hanging out with his friends. His friends are probably assholes. They could be racist on both sides, black or white. You know what I mean? Who knows? That kid could hate his dad. But you look at his dad and say, oh, nah, that's a good father.
Hey, he tried.
But that kid don't gotta like his dad, is all I'm saying. Because that kid has his own views, values, and things that belong in the world just as much as his father has his. And like that's like going back to the thing of like importance. Everybody has a story. Not every story is important to the world, but every story is probably important to somebody that cares about you. So like in the scale of like, oh, this is the most important thing in the world, this is not. Obviously, like what happened to me on a Tuesday isn't going to be as important as what happened to Jeff Bezos on a Tuesday. Because what he did could have shifted the whole world economy.
True.
But
you ever think you're gonna meet somebody or like get to know somebody who hits that level?
Probably not. I don't think any billionaire would really like me. So I don't think that it would I don't think it would go well.
Why?
I think that I'm really annoying.
A little bit.
But I embrace that I'm annoying.
Yeah. It's you.
Like, and I'm annoying in more ways than one. Like, even when people have conversations with me, like, we're doing this, like, most people would think having this conversation with me, I don't want to go talk to Quis. I'm going to have some long, annoying-ass conversation about some bullshit that I don't want to think about. And it's like, just that there alone, it's like, nah, bro, I want to hear your opinion on this. Maybe you know something or you're going to tell me something that I haven't heard before. And that could maybe shift my perspective the more I think about it. But people are so combative, it doesn't work out. You don't get to have those dialogues properly. So like you keep having this recurring argument and you think so little of people because you don't express what it is that bothers you. Like, I'm a firm believer in the idea that you should be allowed to feel whatever the case is. Like, who has the right to tell you that your emotions are wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could have done some things with your misplaced emotion, like, you know, or done some things out of emotion that were not the best, but you weren't wrong for having the emotion. It's the action and the lack of emotional intelligence to deal with the emotions that causes most issues. Like, bro, serial killer's not a serial killer if he don't got something going on in his head that's fucked up. Now, not to say that he could have fixed it with just simple communication,
You never had like an idea of killing somebody. You don't visualize killing people.
I don't know.
I've only ever seen myself die.
Really? I've seen it all. You've never.
I
When
can't think
y'all were
about-
younger, did y'all ever get like, well, not get into, but come across like a lot of that early internet gore?
Yeah,
Yeah, but I don't like that stuff.
I fuck with that shit.
I'm
don't
not
know
a
why.
big I'm not a big blood and guts guy.
Yeah.
Like even on like injuries and things like that, like I just
The
makes
older
my
I
skin
got,
crawl.
the
You know,
less it,
oh,
the
yeah,
less and
I
less.
don't know why that wasn't me. I used to love that shit. Like I used to cringe, but I used to love that. You know what I mean? I used to be like, oh damn, all right, let me see the next shit. Like you know
like
what I mean?
the extent of it for me is like a pimple pop. That's like the cringy.
Oh, you know what? I can't do that.
That's like the cringy, like
Bro, I can't
gross.
do none of
Niggas
that
watch that
shit no
pimple
more.
shit and the black hat shit. I can't watch
Yeah,
it.
like
That
I
shit
can't watch
nasty.
it no more. But like that was
can't
like
do
the
none of that
gross,
shit no
weird, like
more.
cringy thing for me. But I can't do the blood and guts.
I'm not even gonna hold you. My shit was Gucci when I seen Ralph shit and then seeing my own leg
I'm
type
like-
shit.
I'm too
Like I was like, all right, I'm good. I can see this shit now. Like,
Yeah, I'm
and
good.
even watching what was the dude's name from that college game with
Kevin Ware.
Oh
bro,
my God.
bro, that shit, the Paul George shit, like.
Yeah, I
Yo.
couldn't watch those. We watched. I was with
You
Kirk.
wasn't in the scarred
No,
when
bro,
you were
I was
kids?
with Kirk. I'm pretty sure I was with Kirk when the Paul George injury happened. Like I was watching the game with
Summer
him,
League shit or whatever it was.
and this nigga broke his leg. It was like the Olympics or some shit.
Yeah, it was some shit. Oh, it was the tryout for it.
tryout.
Nah, it was the practice or
trials.
something.
It was the,
Yeah,
it was the trials, but they had it on TV and shit because they
Yeah.
was playing like an exhibition
Oh,
game or some shit
shit.
like that,
This was for the Olympics shit, right? It
Ah,
was.
that nigga said, ah.
bro. Even that shit
He
had me
said, oh,
shook.
it's over. It's
But like
over.
the thing for me is
Nigga
this:
said, no,
like,
it's
I think-
over.
Nah, Kevin Ware shit was
I'm too
worse.
aware of my
Yeah, that
mortality.
Kevin Ware shit was crazy.
I'm too aware of my mortality for shit like that, so it
Yeah,
bothers me.
now I am.
Like most people, like I don't fear death. I'm very aware that it's something that is inevitable.
I
But
dance
because
with the devil every now and then.
but because I know that like death is an inevitability, like seeing things that remind me constantly of my mortality put a negative like I guess like a hint in my thoughts, because I think of it as like it's like, all right, if you're going to do something, right, and you get to pick two people to bring with you, and you see a lineup, and there's two dudes in the lineup that's 6'5", 235, and look like DK Metcalf, who you picking?
Picking my man DK.
what do I need him for? Because if I need these niggas if I need them to get in a hole, you know what I'm saying? I'm picking the smallest, tiniest
You
man.
the small person. You the person
Yeah,
that you
you
could
the-
fit in all the holes.
You
You
know
the
what I
small
mean?
person.
You that nigga.
You the small person. So anything that is gonna be
Do I need muscle?
no, that's why you grabbing them.
So what the fuck are they at? So they some big fat niggas?
No, I just said they 6'5",
They
230.
6'5", yeah.
And they built like DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
That's a lot of muscle.
As I said.
If I need
No,
muscle,
I asked
yes.
if you. Oh, you asked. I thought you asked if you yourself needed muscle.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. They're the muscle.
Like they're the like I'm saying. If I put those dudes
that's
in a
what I
lineup,
need.
unless you have to do something right, and this is the stigma again. So this is a little bit of a stigmatizing thing. Unless you have to do something that involves the computer or some type of science, chances are you picking the big dudes for everything. Every other situation, even if it's a hole, you like fuck it. We got the big dudes. We can make the hole bigger.
Yo,
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't even have to think. He knew exactly where I was going, bro. Because it's just human nature at that point. The stigmatizing of those things. So it's like now, you weighing your options.
being
I'ma
big
take
is
the
hilarious.
I'm gonna take
Nah.
the big guys. Why are you taking the big guys?
I'm
bro?
not gonna hold you. I'm happy at, you know what I mean, at my height and the size.
I have a
and
decent height,
shit,
but I ain't
bro.
gonna lie. I
Like,
always wanted
If
to
I
be
was
6
too
feet.
big,
But
son,
you
I
take
really
the big
always
guys.
wanted to be 6
Why you
feet.
take the big guys? Because X, Y, and Z.
that's a
All right.
fact.
That 6 feet shit different, bro. It's
If I was a big guy, I'm taking the little guy.
Like that's a total.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. I don't need another big guy.
I don't need another big dude. I'm the big dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's your ego. But so now you're going in to do something. That's what I'm saying. You get to pick the
I'm
people
gonna
you
get a
bring
little
with
nigga
you.
and a medium nigga.
You picking the people you bring with you. You're gonna pick the strongest possible options
That's a fact.
based on whatever stigmas you have. So now, relating back to the other conversation, it's like, why is it such a like horrible thing to take the best possible options.
I don't know. Is it?
Like-
I think that's
Like,
something that dudes deal
the
with.
best possible option is for you to communicate, for you to share your feelings.
But
for you
I
to do
don't.
the
Isn't
things
it
you're
like
supposed to
you?
do.
Do you think it's innate for like men to want a challenge?
Again, you should be challenging yourself, but in that challenging yourself, you should be picking the best options.
Strong.
Huh?
You
So
should
I
be
told
picking
strong.
the best options of
Gucci.
doing so for yourself. Everybody's different. Everybody's gonna react different. Everybody's gonna have like a different opinion and a way of doing things. And it's like, why are you forced to be this because no one else wants to accept it? It shouldn't be that way. You're allowed to be that. Live your life. And have your merry little Christmas, for lack of a better like analogy. Like, you should be able to, do those things. And like, it's weird that like, if you were putting a lineup out, like I said, and you see two dudes that are bigger than everybody else, 90% of the time, unless you're big yourself for your own ego, you want to know when you're going into something that you're prepared.
Yeah.
You want to know when you're going into something that you got the best possible course of action when they give you the option. And people like to act like they get that option taken away, but you don't. You choose to give it away by your lack of emotional intelligence, being selective of what you intake, what you output, being selective of who you surround yourself with, being selective of who you share your opinions with at times, and being willing to intake others. When they give you options, you tend to look through them all before you decide. So why is it that everybody just decides to argue blindly?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just a heat of the moment kind of thing. Like, people's emotions get the best of them, and like, you just think like
It's
you
not an
think you're not
excuse.
thinking you're arguing blindly, which is kind of odd.
That's the thing. Like,
And like, I don't know, man. Like, how when you really say, like, when you say that, it's like, when you say blindly, like, what is your definition of like going in blinded, like blinded in an argument? Like,
Alright,
it's like, does every time someone has like a difference in opinion, they have to pull up research and
I
paperwork?
see it as like they don't understand like what I'm arguing. Like, when I argue with somebody, I'm arguing with you because you're not understanding me, and I want you to understand me. You know, I'm just at that frustration point where you don't understand me. So some people might argue just to get their point across and be done. I feel
I don't really be arguing like that. Sometimes I be arguing that like a lot of times that like people do some shit that I don't want them to do. Or like I deem it's just unfit for me.
Alright. Alright, so eliminating the emergency situation. You know what I mean? Like, you got to make a decision now. Okay? Eliminating the emergency situation. I mean, like, actual emergency, like life or death shit. Like, some real important shit. What stops you in having a conversation and staying silent for a minute after someone's talking? I do it all the time. Literally all the time. Sometimes y'all be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I was just thinking about something."
Right.
Sometimes I will be reading. Sometimes it'll be because I'm texting. Sometimes I will get distracted, and I'll be like, "Yo, what did you say?" So that I can hear it again, and then I'll take another second to really try to process it as best as possible.
Yeah.
Because what rush do I have if this is a conversation we are having and you are important to me? It takes nothing to shut your mouth. Something I learned very, 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 very late in life.
You know what's weird? I grew up. I feel like I grew up like keeping my mouth shut at like critical times and like times where it did. I felt like when I grew up, I should have never kept my mouth shut. So now I've gotten to a point where it's just like, nah, I'm sorry, but it's just everything has to come out.
Well, that should be, so again, that's like emotional intelligence. Like, I'm not saying to keep your mouth shut completely. I'm saying it takes nothing to keep your mouth shut when someone else is trying to tell you how they feel.
Yeah.
Take it in.
Mm-hmm. Think about what they really said.
Think about what they really said.
Come up with a genuine answer.
It don't gotta change your opinion. It don't gotta change how you act. And the problem is, because of expectation, people, when you argue with them, expect that because they told you how they feel and their view on what it is to love and appreciate someone, they believe that when they tell you how they feel, you're supposed to say sorry and just everything yucks it up, and then you fix it and do exactly what they want, because they have an expectation of you to be something that you are not. Because they have made something up in their head, and now they want you to live up to it, because their dreams are to have X, Y, and Z in a partner, or X, Y, and Z in their friendships. And now, because you're not doing those things, it's tainting their dream and their imagination. And it's a disconnect between their reality and what's going on. So now, like, just because of their expectation, it makes you and their eyes seem like you're doing something to hurt them. Eliminate the expectation. Expectation should be, you talk, I talk, we go away. That doesn't mean I don't talk to you ever again. That means you talk, I talk, we go away. We take some time to not be angry about the current situation. We talk again. You talk, I talk, we go away. And we continue to rinse and repeat. Because if you're doing it properly, it's not fighting, not arguing. You're telling me how you feel, I'm telling you how I feel.
Fixing the problem.
You're taking in what I'm saying as to what my expectations were originally, or what I believed or wanted and desired, and you're telling me the same. And now, based on the level of importance you hold to me and my emotional intelligence, we can continue to have these conversations and work on the small things that are manageable to come to an actual reality that makes sense and not something in both of our imaginations. Because everything that we have, like the girls we date, the things that we do, that's just stemmed from somewhere, whether it was TV, whatever the case was. But somewhere in your mind, you made up this idea now from the shit you've seen of like, oh, my girl gotta look like this, she gotta act like this, and she gotta do these things. And anytime you date a girl, and she can do 2 of the 3, or 1 of the 3, and be so amazing at one that it makes you annoy the other 3, or the other 2, or whatever. Eventually you get to the point where you're like, this isn't really what I want, because she's not doing all the things that I imagine. Now, is that her fault? No. Because you put some outlandish expectation on a person that you didn't even know, haven't even met, and probably doesn't even exist, or at least not in your immediate area exists, that you expect to just waltz into your life after the 20 or 30 or whatever years of their life and be like, all right, fuck all my dreams, aspirations, everything. Same thing you were saying about Troy and Corey. Fuck everything that I want. It's all about what you tell me to do. It's all about how you feel. It's like, that doesn't work. Somebody's gonna feel like they're losing for way too long.
Yeah, I mean, yo, this is why I choose to just blurt it out.
So, but now when you get to the point where it's like, all right, again, you remove the expectation. Start to look at the things that you actually need. Stop being outlandish. Like, what do you need from a partner? I need someone who supports this, like, shortcoming of mine. I need someone who supports this strength of mine that other people don't seem to see as a strength. I need someone who's gonna be there for me in the tough times, and this way, or at least some way to really help me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of little things that you actually need from a partner. Now, if that person is providing those things, not to say that they're perfect, they might have things that they're doing that you absolutely can't have in a partner. Now, if you communicate to them, and again, like I said, you talk, they talk, you go away. You just don't talk for like the rest of the day, like, or even if you talk for the rest of the day, you know, have y'all little attitudes, whatever, but be like, hey, like, understand, y'all should both understand, look, I'm thinking about what you said. I might not say it, you know what I mean, because there's pride, whatever, but like maybe I haven't gotten to the point of understanding it properly yet. Eventually, if you're communicating properly, if the problem can be fixed, it usually will be, but time does not equal success. So that's, again, more I'm going to say this word a million times. You should have a ticker at the bottom how many times I said emotional intelligence. It's like another area of it is understanding when someone else isn't doing the things you need or can't do the things you need, because not to say that they're lacking in anything, but they just don't align.
Yeah.
And because of that, you have to have the emotional intelligence to know when to remove yourself.
That's tough.
And like,
I don't know, man. Like when I look at things like this, like when I look at that like specific topic, it'd be that last part, that removing yourself part. It's just like,
well, it's hard to be uncomfortable, but that's the challenge.
It's weird because it's like, I only say that because it's just like, I don't think a lot of people like understand how important it is to just separate yourself from certain people, because it's like, I don't know. I say certain people specifically because it's just like, it's hard to weigh out what's bad for you and what's good for you in life sometimes. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, some people seem to be pretty obvious, just pieces of shit, and then other times it's just like, it's a tough perception on the situation. Like, someone could want the best for you and be trying to like do everything that you tell them to, but
it's like,
what happens if you like that they fall short?
Time doesn't equal success. Oh, excuse me. Time doesn't equal success, and I'm not saying that just because you talk to someone that they're gonna give you this fix or that things will work out. And that's why you have to understand when to remove yourself and what really is important to you. And I don't think that people actually pay enough attention to what is important and like needed for them, and they pay more attention to the glitz or the shiny things that they may think they want but don't actually know that they want. Like, if there anything in this world that if you could not do, you would have nothing.
What? Nigga, what? What was that last statement?
If there anything in this world that if you couldn't do it, you would have nothing.
And there's plenty of things I can't do.
No. Is there anything that if you could not do it right now in your life, like there was no possible way for you to ever do it, or you couldn't do it right now, it was taken away from you, that would leave you with absolutely nothing as a human.
I can't do a backflip, but I can do a backflip. Like, I have all the tools, so I technically can do a backflip.
If somebody was to take that away from you, would it destroy you as a person? No.
Chop off your legs, nigga.
No, you chop off my legs, you will destroy me as a person. I don't want to live without legs.
But that's because you've never done it, and that's because you're used to having legs. And that's because you're No. And I'm not
I'm
saying
already
no.
a piece of shit. I
I'm
don't
not
need
saying-
to be a
I'm not
piece of
saying-
shit
bro,
without
and
legs, bro.
Bro, you're not wrong for saying, yo, like, I don't want to have it. You're
Yeah.
not wrong.
Life is like,
no.
we gotta stop this shit. Life
But-
that's a choice.
But
living
what
is
I'm
a
saying-
choice.
But what I'm saying, no. But what I'm saying
Fuck
is
this
this.
shit.
Look at
I'm
it.
out.
Look at it this way.
I'm out of here with no
Pop
legs.
my bitch ass, nigga.
You-
for no
don't
legs.
save me.
You are like, there's
Shit.
nothing in this world
If
that's
I-
so important to you that if I took it away, you'd be like, yeah, I'm packed up.
Bro, if you literally got rid of like everything from my waistline down, like if I lost,
All right,
really,
I'm not
if I
talking
lost
about
my
you losing
dick,
I'm not talking about you losing a limb.
Oh my
I'm
God.
talking about something that's so important to you that you wouldn't ever give it up. That like if they
my
take it
ability
away
to
from
see
me,
color, nigga, I would be
bro.
pissed.
all right.
If you was colorblind,
Yeah, I'd be, bro. If I woke up tomorrow and I was colorblind, I'd be like, "Whoop, it's over."
There comes a point.
I already
Where?
suck at color grading. I'm never gonna get
No.
good now.
All right, so here's my real point in all this because you're missing it. Everybody has things they think that they want because of whatever reasons. Life has a very, very fast and harsh way of showing you and reminding you that's not what you need, nor is it what you actually want. You hear a lot more stories about people ending up bitter, alone, and not with the person they wish they could have been with because they made decisions about what they thought they wanted at the time, and now they're miserable. You got stories about people who thought they wanted the commitment, the long term, the blah, 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 and everything, and now they're miserable. They thought it was what they wanted. My point in asking that question was me saying, all right, bet, if you were colorblind, you said you wouldn't want to live.
No, I dragged it. I really,
You know what I
dragged it.
mean?
I dragged
Like,
it. Being colorblind,
you
I
know what I'm
really
saying?
dragged it.
If you didn't have- if you didn't have your knees down,
I'm not gonna
if you-
lie to you. I just, my whole life,
If you didn't have your
is
knees
based
down,
on getting pussy.
but
if I
you
don't,
you could still do that if you had your knees down.
if I was like, I would just tell him attach my feet to my goddamn kneecaps, and I'm walking
don't
like
work.
General Cotton.
It don't
It's
work
crazy.
that way. But the sense,
Feel me?
the simple point is like you end up in a space where it's like life is gonna show you and put you in situations where you're really gonna understand what it is you want and what it is that you as a human being
I ain't got no
really
shields.
need from the community that you are part of. Because again, we talked about people being a bigger assimilative force. That's why we got iPhones, all that other shit. You want to be part of a community, and you want that community to not only accept you for who you are, but you want them to embrace you in moments of your, shortcomings and help lift you up.
Lift
So
yourself up.
because of all of those things coupled,
I got God. I
when
don't
you
need
look
that.
at what happens with people and their just like day-to-day relationships, people think they want their friends to be around all the time and go out and do fun things and spend money with them, and some people do. Maybe that's what they do need, so they can't have friends that are busy or see them once in a blue moon because it doesn't work for them. But in that same vein, there are other people who literally need to be alone. They need
I need to
the
work
space.
alone.
They need the space. They need their friends to come around every now and again and support them and show up for the big moments. They don't need them all the time. They don't need their partner all the time to be supportive in this way emotionally or spiritually. So like when you start to really gauge the importance of those things per person and get rid of the expectations you're now placing on other people, you start to look for the people who can provide those things you actually need. Like, you don't need financial stability. Like, that's some stupid... No. Listen. You don't need financial stability. That's
No,
some shit.
I think everybody
in a
needs
partner? No.
What do you mean in a partner?
Or in a friendship or relationship?
As in an individual, you need.
No.
to be
I'm
able-
talking about you with another person. I'm not talking about you as an individual.
I need, nigga, because if I give my bitch like if I'm Troy Maxim and I give my bitch all my bread and she spend it, and now we ain't got no money for food. What the fuck we gonna do?
Work more.
Bro, I ain't no. I'm gonna have to get rid of my wife because she thinks buying Gucci shoes is more important
Well,
than,
see, now that's a
than
different
paying
story.
for.
That's being frivolous, but that's not financial stability. That's financial illiteracy.
All right.
That's being
When you say
financially.
financial stability,
So
what do you mean?
financial
'Cause
stability means that they bring a check home every week. They do this every week. I have a stable source of income that is rectified, and I know when they're gonna do whatever for me. You don't need that in a partner. You want that in a partner because you want to feel taken care of. You want to feel safe. You want stuff to
Oh, the
work.
camera's off. The camera's off. You're good.
You want to feel good. You want to feel how you want to feel about it. Essentially,
doing?
how you doing? Essentially, you know what I mean? You're better off figuring out if that person is going to stand with you when you have a problem with your mother. If that person is going to stand with you when you have like actual issues with the bank and your lack thereof financial stability. You could be an artist and art could be your thing, and she could love you for who you are. But financial stability isn't something she needs. It's something she wants so she can feel taken care of. So that way she can go through whatever. Because think about how many people have lived broke with their boyfriends, husbands, and future mate. And now that person has struck gold because they supported them. Like,
that's what's up. I believe in that. You know what's weird for me? All right, Pete. Like, because my definition of financial stability is being able, like you said, having a consistent income. You know what I mean? A guaranteed income. You get what I'm saying? And not just that, but being able to not spend more than you make. You get what I'm saying?
but that's not even like, I mean, yes and no, because like it just depends on everybody's life. But I understand what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
I get
As long
the
as you can,
perspective.
you know what I mean?
As long
Like,
as you
if
can make it through the day to day.
Yeah, as long as you can make it. Who's to say you're not living the life that you want to live?
Yeah,
Like, you know
and
what I'm
that's-
saying?
but
If
that's
you
what I'm
make
saying.
$2,000 a month and it only costs $800 for you to live,
But that's
who's
because,
to say you're not stable?
But that's because that's what you need. You get what I'm saying now? Now think about it that way.
What if
you
that's
make
what you-
$2,000 a month, and all you need is $800?
Well,
Because
no.
the
Well,
wall-
I guess so.
The
but
walls that you live in, like you got
I'm
to
not
think about the
saying
person.
that.
No, you
I'm
got to
saying
think about the person.
I get that because I know people that live like this. They it's not really a mental decision. They just go like, yo, bro, my rent is this, my this is that. I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. Whatever it is, that's the driving force. You get what I'm saying? But they go, I make X, so I'm only gonna spend X, and they try to stick to said budget. Every now and then they go over, but the point is to never overspend. To never to spend $4,000 in a month when you only make $3,000.
All right. Yes. Now, in that same vein, are we talking about the people who are disgruntled about that way of life, or the people who are very
No, I'm
very
talking about who are
just
fine with that.
exactly.
That's
So the
it's
people
almost
who are-
subconscious. Like they
the
just
fu- no,
they're cool. Like
yes, but
they're
that's what I'm
comfortable
saying, yes.
with where they eat and
But
things
that's
like
what I'm saying.
that.
That's
where they live.
subconscious. Them as a person, their personality, fuck the necessities of a human body and shit like that. Everyone needs food, clothing, shelter, the simple shit to really survive. Fuck the surviving part. What they need for them to feel okay, for them to feel like, you know, a value to human society or a person.
Yeah, but you
of
can't
worth.
forget about the second half. We
It's-
all live for our needs and wants.
Yes.
You can't
But-
get everything you want, but the goal is to at least.
Is find the things of importance and then chase those, not to say, oh, I want all of these things and set the expectation to get them. And that's why I'm making the point. These people live this way because they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stick to my budget not to overspend because I want something else. Get what I'm saying? I want to get to a bigger space, or I want to be in a better job, or I want something. So in the meantime of me wanting,
Some of them, they just want to live like that.
and that's also okay, but in the meantime of me wanting, I need to cover my needs. So what are my needs? I need to eat X, Y, and Z to feel okay. How much does that cost? I need to live in a space that has at least these things. How much does that cost? So like even aside from the monetary value, and that's what I'm saying, like financial stability is like, people put this whole onus on it. Like, yes, you want the person you're with to be able to do things with you. You don't necessarily want to take care of them and have to deal with all the financial burdens alone. Especially if y'all living way out y'all means because you're doing a bunch of shit you want, not a bunch of shit you need. And that's where the problems really arise. People are getting into relationships and getting into shit and they're like, well, I want all these things, so he got to have X amount of money or she has to do X amount of things so that way I can make sure I can go get these things. Well, you're not in it for you anymore. You're in it for the both of y'all. So what do they want? And now, again, setting your expectation of the world aside and people, if you really care about this person and you're having these conversations, it's like, all right, well, they don't got to make as much as you. You might want them in the same realm so they understand some of your problems more. That makes sense. I get that. It's like if you make $500,000 a year and I make $10,000 a year, I'm not going to understand the problems with taxes and things like that because you make way more money than I do. But does that mean that I'm less than of a person and I can't support you in all the ways that you need? Because you may want the $500,000. But if I took all of that away from you, would you not be still you? And that's the point that I be trying to get at. Like, your money should not determine whether or not someone values you or deems you an acceptable partner. Because if you're someone that they truly care about and you support them in the ways that they actually need, you can deal with the financials. You can find a way to support each other through the rough times. You can find a way to build something upon which you can get to another pedestal in your lives. Nothing happens overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. All the idioms in the book. Everything takes time. But people are eliminating time and hard work for something like, oh, they got to be financially stable. Bro, you talk to somebody nowadays, the first thing they be like, especially women, they're like, oh my God, I got to be financially stable. It's like, well,
you don't want to give me no pussy then.
Well, like,
it's like
you gotta be financially stable. And then when they say financially stable, what they really mean is he got to be able to take me shopping, take me on dates, and do a bunch of other shit that I want to do. So that way I can have the life that I want for myself.
Yeah, a lot of people make
a lot of, and I'm not saying that's everybody. That's
just a lot.
It's a whole lot.
It's a lot. We'll just
it's
use
a whole lot. It's a lot.
It's so many.
It's a lot. And then there are those people. And then there are those people who are like, oh, well, he has to be financially stable because, well, I still want kids. I want to, you know what I mean? Whether it's taking them out to buy stuff or spending your money, one way or another, they want you financially stable so they can spend your money. And then men tend to be like, oh, well, I want my woman to coddle me, basically. I want her to be subservient.
Facts.
I want her to serve me.
Well, I don't know about subservient, but
no, you want her to be subservient. I want come home, dinner on the table. I want her to tell her to do. I want to tell her to do something, and she does it. I don't want her to, like, I don't want her to backlash me or backtalk me. Like, if there's something we talking about, obviously, I'm not saying I don't want her to speak or have an opinion, but like when I make a statement and I say this is what we doing, I want her to back me. I want her to support me. Blah blah blah. That's what men say they want. They want some woman to blindly follow their incompetence. And women want a man, or at least now a lot of them do, that will pay their way to the future that they think they deserve. And that's why relationships fail.
Yep. Yeah, man. Free us.
So it's like,
free us.
It's like, what do you really need? You need your woman to support you, yeah, but you also need her to reel you in when you're doing some dumb shit. Because she's going to reach you and be able to push your buttons ways that most people wouldn't, that'll actually get you to think. Positive manipulation. She don't got to say, oh, you just like your daddy and get you in an argument or some shit, like some stupid shit. But she could be like, yo, you're not thinking straight. And like say some slide shit to be like, when you ready to think straight, you come talk to me. You know what I mean? And that's gonna make you be like, yo, fuck this bitch. You're gonna get mad for a little while, but you eventually gonna think about what she said. Especially if you care about her. And you need that. That's what you need. Not what you want, it's what you need. Women don't need a man that can pay their way, especially in the time and day and age where anybody could be a homemaker. What you need is a man that's gonna support your dreams. support your struggles. What you need is somebody that's going to be there for you when you're going through the plight now that men of color went through, and then the men before them that liberated us from the British and all their forefathers and whatever. You want support as a woman in the fight that you're going through now, trying for both equality and a space to occupy that is equal. You want a man that is supportive of your trials and endeavors and tries to make you feel actually cared for in the world that is so harsh and crude and doesn't give anything to anyone. That's what you need. But you're more concerned about how much money is in their wallet and what it can buy you, or how much of your shit they'll tolerate before they get tired and leave. And that's why all relationships are like always on edge. Like The Verge. It's like you get 3 months where y'all don't care about nothing because y'all both kind of pretending and still learning about each other. At least like enough to really know a little bit about each other in the first 3 to 6 months. It takes about that much time to really start to get to know a person, really. And that's not even a lot. That's just like, just like the base, most minute level of understanding about them. And then after that 3 to 6 month period, everything starts to go to shit. Why? Because y'all both pretending. And now, y'all don't know what, y'all was so focused on what y'all thought y'all wanted. Because it's also a think of what you wanted. Not even just I wanted this. Yo, give me like 5 minutes to call you back. I'm finishing the pod. This guy. Who that? Oh yeah, Paydex. Paydex. Nice. Where's that at?
72. I think once they get to like 80 something, it'll be 60.
Yeah, 80 is valid. Where'd you get that from though? Yeah, we gotta get that up.
That's
Nav? The shit they charge.
That's with the shits that I've been putting on there too.
Okay.
Trade lines and shit.
Alright, bet. But yeah, I'm on. Yeah, I'll be done in like 10 minutes. Alright.
Man, we've been deep on time.
Yeah, so, but yeah, the big thing is just like, I feel like the biggest problem is really just the lack thereof, the like intelligence in all of our communities, and like, I don't think that it's also necessarily everyone's fault. Like, I touched on it briefly, and it's just like really hard to get all the opinions and everything out in like the condensed manner. Try to get better at it, but you can pick up your phone nowadays and find anything to validate how you feel one way or another. You can find trauma at every corner, and you're never really gonna know what's what, so you become almost numb to it. And then in that, you still get taught like, hey, you want this, you want to do this, you want to do this, because you see all the big shiny stuff and those people seem happy, and the world tries to convince you that they are happy. But time and time again, when you actually talk to those people or see them, they're not happy. So like something's not adding up here. And it's the fact that people aren't emotionally intelligent enough. It's not just regular like day-to-day cultural intelligence where like they learn about the people next to them, they learn about how the world around them works and all of those types of things. It's just like on a just understanding and interacting with the people next to you on a baseline human level, because at a cognitive level, when people were babies, y'all couldn't speak, but y'all could communicate based on just raw emotion and interaction. If that's the case, then there's some disconnect in our emotional development that, in my opinion, is stopping us from really getting better as a society and human beings. Because there's no way that babies should be more accepting. Yes, obviously there's dangers and terrors in the world, and I'm not saying that we ever really eliminate those either. But there's no reason that, like, babies can tell bad energy. everyone always says that they can tell when someone is harmful or menacing. They can, like, babies tend to cry around really, really mean or sad people.
Damn, this is why I never have a good time
So,
with
like,
kids.
Yo.
Every time it's like, someone's hold the baby. I'm like, nah, I'm good, bro. I'm good, bro. I really don't.
So, like,
Soon
all
as
of those
I'm like, see, yeah, I'm good, bro.
kids love me. I was a gymnastics coach for like 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So it's
Like little kids.
I've coached kids from
Nah, I'm
ages
talking about, like,
6 months
Infant,
all
like
the way
babies
up
scare
to.
me. Look, like I don't like. I'm good.
I've dealt
Yeah,
with
I'm
kids
Gucci
from as young
around
as
babies.
and I've
Gucci
babysat too. So like I've dealt with kids from ages of 6 months all the way up to like 18.
Yeah, I gotta get my toddler game up. I haven't done any of that. And honestly, like my niece was the first
Kids
baby
teach
though.
you a lot.
You're right. My niece was the first. I'm not gonna lie, and that's why like I be hating that like I'm not at where I want to be able to just like.
Well, again, like,
But man, which from course that was like the first baby that just like when I held her, she didn't just.
Right. She knew who you was.
I was like, oh shit, this is like my niece.
Mm-hmm.
Like holy shit, this
Nah,
is
that
a
shit
real
is crazy.
baby.
When I held my niece for the first time, I was like, damn.
And then they get older, bro, and then it's just like my niece is just like everybody else. Again.
Yeah.
Like, God damn it, everyone hates me.
Yo.
Yeah, but it's been another good episode, y'all. I appreciate the long talk. Yo,
Boom.
y'all niggas be out.
Love
Be
y'all.
safe. We love y'all.
Get drunk.
Any special tidbits?
Roll up. Enjoy
I
the
feel like I
good
talked
weather.
way too much today, so
That nigga Quis went strong today.
Yo, he going hard, nigga.
Going hard.
But you gonna feel it.
but
Harder than hard.
If you do take the time to really listen to the episode, I hope there's something in there that at least gets you to question, you know, maybe something that's going on in your life and think about a different way that you could possibly attack it. Everybody's got demons. We've all got problems. Not to say that yours don't matter.
Big demons.
And we don't care about them. But, you know, you got to find a better way to manage them than to just, you know, lash out and harm other people in the wake of you trying to figure out how to deal with your own demons. Always appreciate the viewing audience. You know, y'all are great. And leave comments, opinions, anything, interact with the video. I care more about that than I do if you like me or not. So just keeping it funky.
All right. Y'all be safe. Yeah, all right. Peace.